Alrighty, good afternoon, guys, and welcome. This webinar, we're going to cover how to approach the actual exam questions. My name is Henny, I'll be your presenter. And what you need to understand from our side at Let's Study is we are there to ensure that you pass this thing. We are not there to do the study work for you. We are not there to study or write the exam on your behalf. We are in the process of getting you to understand what you're going to be facing. So first and foremost, that being said, you need to have a look at what does the exam consist of, okay? So if you have a look at this, you'll see that at the end of the day, you need to choose the most correct answer from a possible 4 listed. Now, keep in mind that there is the possibility that the most correct answer or the 100% correct answer is not listed, meaning the answer that is 100% correct is not an option out of the 4 options you are given, okay? Keeping in mind, all of the questions are multiple choice. So, and for RE5, you're going to need to get to 66% for a pass. Now, you have to understand, as we run through these questions today, explaining how to answer them, you need to understand that you must do the self-study work, especially code of conduct, to be able to answer these questions. You cannot write a test on the law if you don't know the law, okay? So code of conduct is extremely important, and you'll see in these questions why. We are only running a half an hour to an hour session, so I'm going to try and cover as many questions as possible. The key thing is, should you not understand anything, at the end of this, you'll be able to either join us for a 2-day workshop where we go into more detail regarding this, or look at posting your questions on the chat box on the side. Questions on the side I'll answer after we've done about 5 or 6 of these questions. Unfortunately, we won't have time to do any more. So please always remember that each question only counts 1 mark, okay? So it is pointless to spend 2 hours on a question where you could have answered 50 others, okay? Now, that being said, your exam is divided into levels, okay? And that's the 4 levels. Now, if you have a look at this, your level 1, which is this one on top, that's basically your knowledge. So that's the actual stuff that you had to go and study, like code of conduct. Level 2 is how do you understand the law itself? How do you comprehend how to implement it? Okay. Level 3 is then actually the application of the law in the real life scenarios. And these are the questions where we normally fail. Now you'll find that these questions are also listed from question number 15 to question number 35. That's the middle section. The middle section is based on the real life scenarios, guys. Okay, so be very careful of this level 3. And then level 4 being your analytics, or analyzing whether your procedure or application actually worked. Now, these are normally a combination of either timeframes or penalties, whereby you need to arrange them in the correct sequence. Okay, great. Let's have a look at this now. Okay, so this is the first question, and I'm going to take the whiteboard away so you can have a better, clearer understanding. So the question reads as follows, and this is typically what you're going to be facing. Now, guys, again, you need to know and understand the Phase Act, and you need to know the code of conduct. Otherwise, you won't be able to answer these. What classification of financial service is the following scenario in terms of the Phase Act? Okay. The scenario reads, Miriam advises John that it is a requirement to take out long-term insurance policy when taking out a mortgage bond of Bank A. Then your 4 possible answers is A, advice, B, intermediary service, C, advice and intermediary service, and D, neither. Now, guys, when you see a question that looks easy like this, okay, these questions are extremely difficult, okay, because the information they give you is very limited, meaning that your actual info that you can use to answer the question is limited. Now, never, ever, ever remove anything from the scenario. Never, ever assume anything. And never, never add anything. Only use what they give you in the actual question. Okay? If you have been in the industry for a while, I'll suggest that you start reading the answers first and then go to reading the question. All right. Now, let's go through this and we have a look and see where is the catch in this question, because there is a catch in it. Okay, so according to the Phase Act, if you have a look at this, you'll find that Miriam advises John that it's a requirement to take out long-term insurance policy when taking out a mortgage bond. Now, for Phase to actually govern anything, you need the three elements, like I said in the previous webinar, whereby you need a product, a client interested, and an actual service provider. If you have a look at this statement they've given you here, nowhere does it indicate that Miriam is an actual service provider. It doesn't state anywhere that Miriam works for a bank or FSP, or that she is qualified under the RE5 under the Phase Act. So Miriam is a normal person, all right? That's Miriam. Who is John? Okay? John is also not in the industry. It doesn't indicate it here anywhere, okay? John is just someone Miriam is speaking to. So therefore, Phase can never govern this scenario. Although there is advice, we don't know whether Miriam works for the bank or FSP or is even a licensed under the RE to actually give John advice. And nowhere does it state that John is actually interested in getting a insurance policy, because it doesn't state whether he's taking a bond or not. Okay. So your correct answer in this case, because those three elements are not present, is going to be D. That one there. Okay. Now, why D, guys? Because you don't have all three elements and therefore Phase cannot govern you. Now, if you're not sure what the elements are, the elements is you need a customer interested in a financial product, which in this scenario, it's not indicated anywhere. Secondly, you need a financial services provider, which is also not indicated anywhere that Miriam either works for an FSP or is a financial services provider. And the only element you do have is the financial product, which is, the long-term insurance policy. So you've only got one out of the three elements, and therefore none of these will be governed under, or this scenario will not be governed under the Phase Act, therefore D being the right answer. I hope that makes sense. Let's have a look at the next one. All right, so in this one, it says that this question is actually not that tricky, but it's very pedantic to the code of conduct, okay? And the reason why I say that, if you have a look at your question, an FSP receives cash on behalf of clients. Which one of the following does the FSP need to comply with according to the code of conduct? Now, guys, whenever it states as per the Phase Act and it's a scenario, you need to look for the elements. When it states code of conduct, your answer has to be word for word identically the same as in the actual law. Now, our book, should you be interested, does contain code of conduct, and it is word for word the same, because code of conduct is something you have to go and study yourself, okay? Now, the nice thing about our book is it's only 130 pages, and it is not 1,000 pages like most of the other books out there. Keeping in mind, the book that you might get from us only contains the stuff you need for RE1 and RE5. It will not help you with RE2, 3, 4, 16, 20. It only is applicable to RE1 and 5. So that being said, if I go and read the possible answers, because I need to get it according to the code of conduct, A, pay all fees relating to accounts and transactions, okay? B, pay cash in FSP's transaction account within 1 business day. C, ensure that the interest occurred on the money is paid to the client. D, issue a written receipt as soon as possible. Now, guys, the reason why A can never be right is because of what? Pay all fees relating to account and transactions. That's wrong, because the account always belongs to the, yes, FSP, and the transaction cost belongs to the client. So having a look at that, that one can't be right, because the client pays the transaction fees and the FSP pays the monthly account fees. All right. So that's why A can't be right. B, pay cash and FSP transaction account within 1 business day. Okay, guys, everything according to code of conduct here is correct, except for the word transaction. Okay, the word transaction should have been separate. Okay, and that's what I say. It has to be word for word identically the same. So the code of conduct states that FSP needs a separate account. All right, and therefore B is not correct. C, ensuring that the interest that occurs on money is paid to the client. Yes, C is 100% correct according to code of conduct word for word, and therefore it will remain your correct answer, and that is C. All right. Why is D not correct? Because a written receipt needs to be issued immediately, not as soon as possible. Okay. You guys understand why you need to know code of conduct. You need to know it as the back of your hand. And unfortunately, that is para-study work that you've got to go and actually do the work yourself. There's not much that we can do it. And again, I said my job is to get you to pass. But I can't get you to pass if you don't want to do your own study work. All right. So guys, code of conduct, you have to know the code of conduct before you go and write this thing. If you don't know the code of conduct, please don't go and write it, because you are going to waste your money and your time. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. So this one is a little bit tricky. Again, what does the code of conduct say about declaring disclosures? Now, disclosures has got a few points underneath it. And one of those points is obviously remuneration disclosures and so on. So meaning that at the end of the day, you need to know those disclosures, do's and don'ts, again, out of code of conduct. And code of conduct, guys, it carries the most weight in your exam. So your code of conduct can be anything from 8 to about 16 questions, depending on the paper you get. Keeping in mind that your papers are being generated from a question bank. So no 2 people will write the same paper on the same day. Okay. So again, code of conduct, going through this, Cindy is a rep. Now it indicates Cindy is a rep. Okay. So there's a there. So now we know Cindy is a rep. Great. And the products are designed by the internal product house. Now, guys, internal product house, meaning Cindy is a rep of a FSP. We know in the exam, FSP relates to an intermediary service. However, the products are designed by the internal product house. Suddenly, the intermediate service became a product supplier. So Cindy works for an FSP who is a product supplier. Okay, so now you need to go to code of conduct and see what does it say about product suppliers disclosing remuneration, because that's what the question wants. Which of the following must she disclose to a client? Okay, so if you have a look at your disclosures under your code of conduct, it clearly indicates only an intermediary service, FSP, needs to disclose A as well as B. Okay, and that's only for an intermediary. All of the above can be right if it's an intermediary, but it's not, because the internal products are designed by the internal product house. Therefore, your correct answer is going to be yes, D, because a product supplier's rep does not have to disclose the remuneration, bonus, commissions, fees. The reason for that is the product supplier carries the risk of the product. Okay. Intermediary, they need to. So guys, do you see the importance when it comes to code of conduct? You really need to know the code of conduct. Okay, now this one I made a little bit easier for you, because at the end of the day, if you have a look at the question, okay, you're going to invest on behalf of the client. 2 questions in the previous slide, we said that the FSP needs or takes responsibility for the account fees, and therefore that is that there, the $100, okay? If you go and look at your client is responsible for the transaction fees, which is this year, cash deposit fee. So therefore, when you work this thing out, you need to take the initial investment, okay, of $1,000, okay, add the interest to it, and minus the cash deposit fee. Do not bring the monthly account into the equation at all. Leave it out completely. So you're only working with these 2, all right? And working with those 2, I take my 1,000, take my interest, which is 50, so I've got 1,050, minus my 10 Rand deposit fee, which is transaction fee, and that's going to give me B as the correct answer. Does it make sense? I hope so. I hope it makes it fairly easy. But you need to make sure that you are 100% clear on what the question wants. Because if you assume or you add anything that is not there, you are going to get the wrong answer. All right. Guys, questions I'll answer afterwards, so just make a mental note, and then I'm going to run through the questions after we've done about 5 or 6 of these questions to give you a better idea what to look for. All right, so this one fairly easy. The trick in this one was you needed to remove the account fee, because that is, according to code of conduct, the account fee belongs to the FSP, not the client. Great. Next one, let's have a look what's going on here. Now guys, CPD we did last week, okay? CPD is very tricky. When you get confused with CPD, ensure that you draw yourself a timeline, okay? But roughly speaking, any main class or business class or subclass is equal to 6 points or 6 hours CPD per CPD cycle, and your CPD cycle runs from the 1st of June to the 31st of May. So therefore, this question, let's go see what it wants. Jane is registered in short-term insurance, personal and commercial. Okay, now guys, Jane is registered, meaning she works for an FSP. She's in short-term, great. And she's got 2 classes. She's got personal, which is here, and commercial, which is there. Her last trade is HR. HR management has got nothing to do with class or business, so therefore it's irrelevant. Jane completes all her requirements on the 1st of January 20XX. Okay. How many CPD hours must Jane complete within the current CPD cycle? Now, guys, here you've got a class being 6 points or hours in the cycle. There's another class, which means it is another 6 points. So that is 12. Meaning if in a cycle which consists of 12 months, I need to do 12 hours, that gives me 1 hour a month. She was employed in January, meaning I start count January because it's the 1st of January. And I count all the way to the 1st of June. So it's Jan, Feb, March, April, May, and then June is the new cycle starting. So it's going to be 5 months. 5 times 1 equals 5, because she needs to do 1 hour a month, right? So therefore, now I'm looking here. Here's a problem. My answer is 5 because she's got 5 months to go, right? But do you see a 5 listed here? No. Now, guys, that's what I mean. You need to choose the most correct answer, because the 100% correct answer won't be listed. All right. Now, you've got a tricky one here, because if 5 is your answer, seeing that you have got January, February, March, April, May, does the CPD cycle end? So that's 5 months. June, the new CPD cycle starts. Okay. They asking within the current CPD cycle if I start on 1 Jan. Got it. So it's 5 months. You with me? Here's a problem. I've got a 12, so that's 7 away from 5. I've got a 19, which is even further away from 5. So I'm left with either A or D. Okay. 9 minus 5 gives me 4. 5 minus 1 gives me 4. So the variance between A and D is both 4. Question is, which one is correct? Guys, the first correct option is always the correct one, because A in the alphabet comes before D. And because the variance between both of them is the same, related to my answer, the correct answer would be A as the most correct answer, because the 100% correct answer of 5 is not listed. Does that make sense? I hope so, because these ones are very, very tricky. Again, each of these questions only count 1 mark, guys. So don't waste your time and get stuck with these things when you can do a lot of other questions that you may be more familiar with. Okay. Next one. If you have a look at the Phase Act, they want to know what is not. Now, guys, keyword being not. You need to read these questions carefully. What is not a responsibility? Now, we said in the last webinar that responsibility, you need to change to the word must and read the question again. So what is not a must of the commissioner in terms of debarment by the FSP? Okay. So in other words, if the commissioner does, so they were looking for a negative, what is not? So the commissioner does not have to do it. All the others he must do, otherwise he will be debarred himself. So if we have a look at A, adding the names of the rep on the list of debarment representative, that he must do. He must put the debarred rep's name on the list of debarred reps. Okay, so that A is definitely a must. All right. B, making debarment known on the official website. Now, guys, B is the right answer, and let me tell you why. Because the Code of Conduct clearly states that the commissioner may or may not make the debarment known on the official website, depending on the seriousness of the debarment. Okay, so it's not a must. All right. Therefore, what is not a responsibility? This one here. He can or cannot do it. He may or may not. It's up to his own decision whether he wants to or not. But A, he must do, otherwise he will be debarred, because he has to add the name of the debarred rep to the debarred list. He has to update the central register of reps. So any other guy that wants to employ this rep can see on the central register he has been debarred and the reason for it. And he must inform all the other associated FSPs of the debarment. Otherwise, they are just going to go and try and re-employ the oak, and it might have been a serious offense. We don't know. It doesn't state it. But the most correct answer here is B, because it's not a must. It's he can or he may or may not do it. It's completely up to him. All right. Does that make sense? Cool. Now I'm going to skip a few. That one is quite easy. We'll come back to that one. Okay, guys, have a look at this one quickly. This again looks very easy. It's quite straightforward to do, and all of us can do it, no problems. Guys, this is a tricky one. Okay, because Janet invests 1.3 million in a Bitcoin mine. Now, firstly, a Bitcoin mine can never, ever, ever be governed by phase. Why not? Because Bitcoin has got no owner to take responsibility. So if she suffers a loss, who is going to take responsibility, seeing that there is no owner or responsible person to do that? So Bitcoin does not get governed under the Phase Act. So therefore, the correct answer in this already there would be none of the above. But that's not an option. I've got all of the above, which is also not an option. So again, the 100% correct answer is not listed. So now I need to carry on. So I know she has invested 1.3 million, right? She has suffered a loss of 1.1 million. Okay. Meaning there's 200,000 left that hasn't been lost yet. Her complaint was not resolved by the relevant FSP. Now, guys, here's the thing. Nowhere from there to there. Okay. Does it indicate who is responsible for the loss? Okay. Now, we know the correct answer is none of the above, but that's not listed, seeing that it's Bitcoin. But nowhere does it indicate that the rep's advice or the actual investment, the product had a flaw. Okay. And again, don't add anything, don't remove anything. And because there is no indication of who is at fault causing the loss, you need to take the entire investment, the 1.3, as the entire investment as a loss, not just the 1.1. If it had said she lost the money because of advice from the rep, then you would work from the 1.1. But in this case, I need to work from the 1.3. So in other words, the question then goes on, how much must Jane forgo in order for her matter to be considered by the Phase Ombudsman? Now, guys, forgo firstly means to write money off or to take a loss. Now, the Ombudsman, the Phase Ombudsman, has got a limit of how much? Yes. He's got a limit of 800,000 rand, South African 1 rands. Okay, so in other words, I need to take 1.3 million, which is up here, and then I need to actually minus the 800, which the Phase Ombudsman can make a decision up to, meaning she is going to have to forego or lose another 500,000 before the Phase Ombudsman will actually look at her claim. All right, guys. Again, code of conduct, Phase Ombudsman can only make a decision up to a maximum of 800,000 rand unless the FSP agrees to a higher amount. Now, in all my life, no FSP will agree to a higher amount. Why would you want to lose more money than you're already losing? Okay, so the right answer being C. Okay, makes sense? Alrighty, moving on. Okay, guys, Piet of Pompie Brokers, ne? It sounds very Afrikaans. Piet of Pompie Brokers. Okay, Piet of Pompie's Brokers, a sole proprietor, FSP number 8745 dies. Okay, great. So Piet is now dead. And he was a sole proprietor, meaning Piet was the only owner, or he was the only member owner of this FSP with that FSP number, and he is now dead. So in other words, Piet is the sole proprietor. His wife inherits the business. Which of the following actions must take place? Okay, now guys, if a sole proprietor dies, the FSP license dies with him. The business might still be profitable, but the FSP license needs to, or the business needs to get a new license and registered to the new owner as KI. Okay, so therefore, 1, the client must inform FSCA of the death of Piet. Guys, who's the client? The client is, yes, Piet. Piet is the client of the FSCA. He is dead. How the hell can you inform the FSCA of your own death? So that's not correct, right? Number 2, the executor must inform FSCA of death of Piet. Yes, that is correct. Who's the executor? The executor is the guy that is in charge of the Pitt's estate. Okay. So therefore, whoever is inheriting what, until such point that they got it, the executor is in charge of that estate, and therefore he must inform the FSCA that Peter has died. All right. The wife must be appointed as key individual for FSP 8745. What did I just say about a sole proprietor when he dies? His license dies with him. So therefore, this is incorrect because the wife cannot have a key individual under the same license. All right. It needs to get a new license, meaning this number must change. It must be different from that. All right. So number 3 is wrong. Number 4, wife must apply for a new FSP license to continue. Yes. So those are the 2 correct ones. I need to go and look under A, B, C, and D, which ones has got number 2 and 4 listed. And then that would be D, having number 2 and number 4 listed. All right. So D being your correct answer. Guys, just be careful. Number 3, if they left out this. So in other words, let's say I take that away. Yeah. Out of the sequence. Then number 3 would have been correct as well because the wife must be appointed as KI. Seeing that she inherited it. The question whether she will qualify as a KI is irrelevant in this question because that's not what the question wants. All right. So just be careful. The number 3 is only incorrect because of this last piece being added on. All right. Cool. Yeah, this one is, we're going to skip that one. We're going to skip. Here we go. Now, guys, this one catches you guys all the times. And if you ever failed a exam before, I'm pretty sure that this will look very familiar. Okay, so the question reads as follows. Which of the following is a duty of the key individual under the Phase Act? So in other words, what must the key individual do according to the Phase Act? Now, let's go and have a look here. Oversee the compliance function and report to the Financial Sector Conduct Authority. Guys, that number 1 is the compliance officer. The key individual must implement and maintain the compliance function. The compliance officer oversees, monitors, and reports back to the FSCA. So number 1 belongs to the compliance officer, not the KI. However, the KI is responsible for debarment of reps not meeting the requirements. So yes, that one is definitely one of the correct answers. The KI, ensuring that complaints are handled in an effective and fair manner. Yes, the KI is responsible for sorting out the complaints that comes back to the FSP. So that one is correct. And then number 4, maintain the register of representatives. Yes, because he needs to keep it updated. And when anything changes, he needs to send it to the FSCA. Meaning my correct answer will have 2, 3, and 4 in it. And that would be not 1, not 2, not the C is a little bit demanding. It looks very similar, but it's not C. I need 2, 3, and 4, meaning D is the correct answer. Guys, the trick in this one was the first point. The KI does not oversee the compliance function and reports back to the FSCA. The compliance officer does. Don't get confused between the compliance officer and the KI. All right. Okay, guys, we've got about time for 3 more questions. So I'm going to go to the 3 difficult ones that I want you to have a look at. Now, take your time. I'm going to give you a few seconds by keeping quiet and read through this slowly. And see if you can figure out what is the right answer here. Now, guys, this here is a category question. It's a typically main category as well as subcategory question. If you don't know your categories or understand them, you're not going to get this one right. Okay. So I'm giving you 15 seconds to read through it quickly. Okay, you guys read through it. Great. Let's have a look at what this wants. Okay, guys. Question reads, Ace Investors is an investment company registered as a Category 1 FSP. Keyword, Category 1 FSP. They do long-term insurance under subcats B and C as product categories. Now, guys, knowing your product categories, there is only one C in the entire 26 products, and that is endowment policies with no guarantee, meaning it's the most riskiest one out of all 26 products. That's why you need to know these product categories, because otherwise you're not going to pick that up. Okay. That being said, I need the guy with the best skill available, because Ace Investors consider the following candidates on 1 June for appointment. Now, guys, when they give you a date, it is important. Use the date. And they're going to be appointing him as a rep. And he needs to provide advice face to face. Got it? Those are your key words that you need to have identified as you read through this. Ace Investors will provide the product-specific training and the class of business training. So therefore, product-specific and class of business, the rep does not need before appointment. Which one of the following candidates is the most employable in terms of the fit and proper requirements? Now, guys, fit and proper requirements under Board Notice 194 of 2017. That is your fit and proper. Now, when they start with this, because this is a product C level, meaning you need the most skilled rep that you can find, okay? Because it's not just a dangerous product, it is also he needs to be able to assist the person face to face under long term, okay? Meaning it is a difficult product, it's a tier 1 product, okay? Therefore, I'm going to start with the guy's qualifications. So I'm first going to look at the qualifications. I want the most highest qualified guy. So if I have a look at number A, he's got matric, he's got RE1, he's got RE5. He can qualify. He's got all the minimum criteria, right? Great. So let's put a dot there next to him. Then B, he doesn't have an RE5, guys. So B cannot represent face-to-face. Are you with me? So therefore, he can't, I'm not going to consider him. Okay, he first needs to get his RE5 to give advice. Now, if we move on, number C, certified financial planner. So the qualification is great, but again, no RE5, only an RE1. Now, keep in mind, RE1 and RE5 is each individual licenses. The one does not overrank the other in any way. If you want to give advice, you need an RE5. If you want to manage an FSP, you need an RE1. My advice or opinion to you would be, if you're going to manage a FSP, get both, because you're also going to need to manage the reps. And without an RE5, how do you want to manage anyone if you don't know what they're supposed to do? And what happens if you've got a small FSP and your rep doesn't come to work? Then you can't advise any customers. You understand what I'm saying? So this guy's not going to work for me. All right. Therefore, if I have a look at number 4, a BCom finance, which is fine. He's got an RE1 and he's got an RE5. Great. Okay, so number 1 and number 4 at this point is 2 possibilities. Now I'm going to go to his experience being over here. Okay. Number 1, he's got 1 year experience selling funeral policies. Okay, guys, funeral policies under long term falls under subcat A, not B and C. So his experience is irrelevant. Okay. These 2 is already out because of the qualification, and therefore I'm not going to even look at them. So coming to number 4, 10 years as a rep and endowment policies. Hey, guess what? C is endowment policies, no guarantee. Great. Now, lastly, I'm going to go to the honesty, integrity. In this case, I've only got one guy that qualifies on both of these little columns here, this one, and that is number 4. Oh, shit. He's been debarred in November 2014 for not having a RE5. Hey, guys, guess what? It was 2014, and we are now in 2018, meaning he served the 12 months not working as a RE1 and FSP, which is required by the Phase Act. And since then, he was debarred for not having RE5. Since then, he has got the RE5. So therefore, this is irrelevant in 2018. Therefore, number 4D is the most correct answer. Does that make sense, guys? But you see why you need to understand categories and the product categories. Okay, great. All right, guys, I'm going to do the last one. And this is the last one is a level 4 one. Now, guys, the level 4 one is a little bit tricky because you need to know everything regarding your timeframes, penalties, record keeping, all of that. Now, RE5 guys, you normally get 1 or 2 of these. And your RE1 guys, you guys are going to get 4 or 6 of these. Okay. Now, ask no questions here, no lies. Don't ask me where I got this from. So here's the analytical question. And if we read the actual question what it wants, you'll see that you need to actually arrange your time frames using the info they give you to actually ensure that you sequence them right. Okay. So if I have a look at this, consider the following events that occurred on the same day. Each of these events is terms of the relevance of the legislation, varying periods of time during which the FSP must respond to the event or otherwise adhere to the legislation. Arrange these events in order of shortest. Okay, don't confuse these words, guys. They want it from shortest being first, going to longest. So I need the smallest to the biggest based on the period of time. All right. Now, have a look. The FSP uses a new postal address and must inform the registrar of it. Guys, this is a change of details of the FSP. Therefore, it falls under the register of the FSP. And the register has always only got 15 days. So therefore, your time frame here is going to be 15 at number 1. Great. Number 2, the FSP received cash funds exceeding the cash threshold reporting requirement and must inform the Financial Intelligence Center. Now, guys, this here is the tricky one because the old law or the pre-update, pre-2018, stated that FICA needs to be informed of such an action within 2 days. All right. That has changed. It has changed to the new FICA law with Board Notice 86 of 2018, where it clearly states the accountable party needs to report it as soon as possible, not exceeding 15 days, meaning 15 days is your maximum. So therefore, if I have a look, this one is definitely 15 days, but this one is ASAP, not exceeding 15 days. All right. Therefore, 15 being my maximum. Therefore, number 2 will be before number 1. So number 2 will come before number 1 because of the ASAP, not exceeding 15 days. All right. So, third one, the registrar has requested that the FSP provide certain documents pertaining to a client's record, advice record. Okay, if anybody requests a copy of the client's record of advice, you have only got 7 days to get it to that person requesting it. All right. Number 4, a client terminated a financial product and the FSP is now required to maintain the record of advice associated with the client's purchase for an additional period. Guys, termination is an action on your record keeping, and therefore that period, that action of termination triggers a period of 5 years again. Okay, so this one is 5 years. Got it? Great. Now, FSP receives client funds and must pay the funds into the bank account within 1 business day. Great. See why you need to know code of conduct. And then last but not least, during an office meeting, the FSP provided a client with the details of a product supplier and must now provide the details to the client in writing within. So if the guy bought from you or you need to change anything, it's always 30 days, guys. Not 30 working days, not the month. It's just 30 days. So if these are my numbers, I need to quickly figure out which one comes first because they want shortest to longest. So the shortest period would be number 5. So your sequence is going to run 5. All right. Then which one is second shortest? Number 3, because that's 7 days. So then it's going to be 3. Oh, sorry, my writing is a bit bad. Okay. So I've got 5, then 3, then, here's a tricky. 1 or 2, then 2 because of the ASAP not exceeding 15 days, then 1 being the normal 15 days, then coming down, 5 years, nope. After the 15, my next one is the 30 days, meaning it's going to be 6. And then last but not least, it's going to be 4. You guys get that? Now, guys, remember one thing. This question still only counts 1 mark, although it takes a little bit longer to figure out. So your sequence being 5, 3, 2, 1, 6, 4. Got it? Great. All right, guys, these two are turned around. 4 and 6, I can't write so like it. So 4 is your last one because it is 5 years. This one is only 30 days. So 6 is second last. Last is 4. All right, great. All right, guys, that's it from my side. I hope that clears up a few of your questions. Those of you guys who did write this exam before, I'm pretty sure that you recognize some of these questions in some of the forms and formats. And that being said, should you want to join us for a workshop, we can proudly say at this point in time that we are extremely confident, should you attend one of the workshops, that you would definitely pass, provided that you go and do what we tell you to do. And at the end of the day, provided you go and study code of conduct. Okay. That being said, should you want to join a workshop for 24 hours, I'm going to give you something for almost nothing. Okay. On top of that, I'm willing to give you your money back up to the value of $750 if you do not pass the exam, but you did not fail on code of conduct. Now, guys, the reason for that is I can't study on your behalf. And by failing code of conduct, you haven't gone to study, meaning that you don't want to help yourself. So how do you want me to help you if you don't want to help yourself? And that's why that is the only condition based on the cashback if you fail. And based on our pass rate, guys, if you go and have a look, that's what our workshop includes, and that's for the next 24 hours available to you guys. So if you want to sign up, let us know, and we'll obviously get in touch with you. But your 2-day workshop includes your study guide, your 130-page for RE1, RE5. It includes both on both days. It gives you access to the slideshows, something similar we're running here at this point in time that we also used in the actual workshop. It gives you your online access to the videos per subject, explaining them again. So maybe there was something in the workshop or that you didn't quite get. You get access to those videos to actually, you can go and watch them as many times as you want. All right. I'll give you also a unique way of studying, making studying easier, because most of us are older than 23, And that makes studying difficult if you don't know how to put the information into your brain. So I'll give you a shortcut on how to getting the info into your brain, like code of conduct, on a much easier, quicker way. Then we also give you access to the randomized mock exams, and our system generates it very similar to Moonstone exam. Now, guys, just keep in mind, there is no mock exam out there that is exactly the same as the actual Moonstone exam. All of those exams, mock exams, including ours, is the best we can remember them from writing them on an ongoing basis, because Moonstone do not make them available. All right. So keep in mind, for mock exam, you need to get about 80% before you are ready to go and write this exam to pass with 66. And then that includes your cashback guarantee. Now, normally we sell this at 3175. For you guys seeing that you took the effort to come in, we'll do it at 2175, saving you $1,000. And on top of that, we'll still keep the guarantee in place. Now, guys, in 2019, we have had an 84.3% pass rate. We try to keep it as high as possible, but like I say, life happens. It doesn't always work that way. And the money back guarantee, like I said, very simple. We'll give you 33% of that fee back in cash. Had you failed, meaning we couldn't help you, we couldn't do our job, however, you did not fail with code of conduct. So meaning you got 66 or more for code of conduct, you passed it, but you still failed the exam, I'll happily give you your $750 in cash back. Okay, there is no other supplier out there that's willing to take that risk, or they can do that because they don't guarantee a pass like we do. Remember, our job is to make sure you pass, not to lecture you the book. All right, you need to go do the study work. We just giving you the do's and don'ts to making it easier.